Welcome back inside the Now Morning Show. Now, as the song in the background would allude to, this morning we're chatting about money. But not just any kind of money. We're talking financial literacy, we're talking financial freedom, we're talking generational wealth. And this morning, I want to welcome financial advisor Jordan Awoye to join us on set to give us some insights. Good morning, Jordan.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to the show. How are you doing this morning?
No complaints. Like Kim said, it's early.
It's
But
early.
You got me. You got me up.
Yeah,
You got me up. I'm here.
All right. Well, nice. So then let me get into the information one time. Tell us, what is financial literacy and why is it so important?
So financial literacy in a nutshell is just understanding the basics of managing your own personal money, right? Whatever that may entail. So your budget, understanding how much money is coming in, how much money is going out, your debt, right? From day one, a lot of people start taking out loans and signing on the dotted lines for things that they may not know what they're signing for, right? Managing your credit if you want to buy a home, buy a car. All these things are the basics of what financial literacy is. So why is it so important? As you can imagine, every day of your life, you're dealing with finances in some capacity, regardless of age. You start learning how to deal with money if you want to buy some candy as a kid, right? You might want to go to your parents and say, how can I earn $1 or $2 to buy your favorite soft drink or candy? As you get older, start to, save for yourself, want to buy your own clothes, and then you become an adult, you have more responsibilities, right? Home, kids, all these things. So understanding the basics of financial literacy is the foundational step to financial stability and freedom, right? Because if you don't know how to manage your money, you always be working for money instead of money working for you.
Oh boy, isn't that usually the struggle?
That is usually the
because
struggle.
a lot of us over time, we tend to spend a lot of time, trying to work for the salary and the salary and the salary and the salary, and we work from month to month and we live paycheck to paycheck, and we don't realize that we need eventually for the money to start working for us.
Exactly.
So
And it's
Jordan,
always like they always say, don't hang your hat where it carries.
Exactly.
You understand?
So
So how
Jordan,
do you live within that?
break it down first. Give me three steps to get us started that we should know if we want to be able to say, I want my money working for me.
Okay. Absolutely. So first step is always spend less than you make, right? Always spend less than you make.
I would like you to tell that to the cost of living. The living expenses.
Very true. But the reality is that no matter how you slice it, if you spend more than you make, regardless of how much you make, you'll always be in debt, right? So example, you have somebody that's making $1 million. And you say, hey, I'm making $1 million a year. Immediately you think, oh, that person is doing well. Are they?
No.
Because if you're making $1 million and spending 1.1, you're in debt.
Yeah.
You see what I'm getting at?
Yeah.
So regardless of how much money you make, if you don't know how to manage your money, financial literacy, it really doesn't matter. So first thing is try to spend always less than you make. Second is pay yourself first, right? So what do I mean by that? Before you buy something you might not need, that fun purchase, you go on vacation. Listen, do what you do.
Yeah.
But before you do that, save for yourself, right? Put away that 5%, 10% before you pay your bills, you spend money, because if you save before you spend, it's a lot easier to spend in
because
general.
you have something.
Because you're not thinking about it. It's done, exactly.
Yeah.
That's the point. A lot of people will try to save after they're spending, but you realize at the end of the month, we start to create a cycle for ourselves where we never have money by the end of the month. But if we save to start, by the time we get to the end of the month, we don't have money, we'll technically be already saved our money. So regardless of it, we're fine. And then the last thing is try to create multiple streams of income as soon as possible. Build an emergency reserve, 3 to 6 months of expenses. So again, if you're basic math, $5,000 a month worth of expenses, you want to at least have $15,000 just to, we all have had bad days when things happen that you cannot control. And you want to pay off debt that has high interest, right? First and foremost. So again, if you're looking at your debt and you have one loan that might be charging you 20%, or one credit card that might be charging you 20% as opposed to your student loans that might have been 5%, well, you might want to tackle that higher interest amount because you're losing more money per year. On that amount.
You see, I want to address something because I know that there are a lot of, I don't know if to call them financial advisors or financial gurus who say that you should not spend your money, but they believe in terms of using that credit card, the credit from, let's say, a financial institution to pay your way forward. Is that an ideal way to live, where you keep that illiquid cash and then spend whatever is from the credit card? Like, I wanted to hear your thoughts on that.
It's risky, and the reason why is that I'm not the biggest fan of the one-size-fits-all advice.
Right.
The reality is that strategy is good for somebody who has discipline, who understands how to control their money, because if you start to get into a pattern of spending on your credit card, you think you have money that you don't have. And then before you know it, we start to create a self-fulfilling debt prophecy, right? So I think that idea is amazing if you're in a position to control it. And then more importantly, if you have the sufficient money
To actually pay the
credit card. Because a lot of people will start paying on a credit card and then realize, like, I don't think I worked this month. Well, what's going on here?
Yeah.
So it does make sense. And the reason why I do support is that if you want to build credit or credit history, it does make sense. And that's why some of the gurus say to do so. Because once you start to show a track record and build yourself financially, it makes it a lot easier to borrow money, buy a home, do certain things. But again, if you're not managing it correctly,
disciplined like that,
it could be a double-edged sword. So.
I mean, I think we have lots of people in Trinidad and Tobago and the Caribbean generally who don't quite understand financial literacy, who don't understand gathering that financial wealth. How do we improve that?
Well, the first thing is showing that finance is fun and practical, right? Showing
Is it though?
And let me take it a step further. Listen. In my world, money's always fun, right? Now,
money's always fun when you have it.
That's true. But no, like you said, the idea of finances is intimidating, right? Immediately people start to think, before the show, we talked about billions.
Right.
And then, the context of what, TV and just
Media,
life shows,
what they show,
right? And the reality is that there is an aspect to it, but that's the smallest part of finance that doesn't apply to everybody. The reality of finance is the basics. Again, spend more than you make, understand your budget and your cash flow. Right?
Spend more than you make?
I mean, spend less than you make.
That's the opposite the way you say that.
I appreciate you. Thank you. You saved me there, buddy, right? Don't do that. That's bad financial advice. But you spend less, right? And from the get-go, you start to create a surplus every month. Just something as basic as that.
Right.
If we could teach people that you could learn finances through everyday experiences, life. You don't necessarily need to learn it in a book. Not everybody learns the same way, right? If you could teach it in a way where it's not the prototypical, video. That's it's more of an engaging aspect and more so bringing it down to a practical level. Because the reality is not everybody learns the same way. Not everybody looks at finances and gets excited like myself. I'm one of the few. But everybody has to deal with finances.
Yes.
And that's the reality of it.
Jordan, I wanted to take it back to these saving measures because I've been hearing some things over the few years. So for example, there's some people who will say, save $1 every day and see how much it comes up to at the end of the year. There's some people who actually, they loose coins that they have hanging around. They have like a little piggy bank and they put stuff into that. Are those ideal ways of savings, or do we need to take it to a grander scale in terms of how you mentioned pay yourself first, investing, that sort of thing?
I would say first, start where you can. I would love to tell you you should save the world, but if you cannot afford to do so, we're just, lying to ourselves. So if the first step you can take today without making excuses is, I could just start a piggy bank and save my change. You're creating a good habit, right? But the reality is you do have to build on that, because if you look at the grand scheme of whatever your goals may be, you have to be honest with yourself in regards to how to get to your goals. So the next thing is, if you can save $1 a day, okay, you step it up. Or if you can save 10, 15% of your paycheck, you start there. But the reality is you want to be consistent and start as early as possible. And then once you do that, the rest kind of takes care of itself.
I want to get into you say the rest takes care of itself, right? But even if you start saving little bit by little bit, you can't save yourself into wealth.
Of course.
It's
very true.
piece of your salary, so you're not going to be able to save yourself into wealth. How do we get that money working for us? What is the next step after you saved whatever the amount is that you were aiming for?
No, great question. Next step is actually investing that money. Right? Actually having that money work for you, making your money make money. What does that mean? Now, you could invest into a stock, right? And have that stock, grow in terms of net equity value, pay you a dividend, which is a stock pretty much paying you a thank you for owning them.
But of course, that is risky.
That is, I was going to say.
This is expensive gambling.
Risky.
That's what that is.
But wait, hold on. Let me hear his story. It's risky, right? And because I know there are some people who they believe in the money under the mattress because they know at the end of the day, this is mine.
Very true.
But when you are looking at that stock sheet, it looks good. But then if the price falls, it's a risky business. So what do you tell those people who are maybe concerned about taking that sort of risk?
There's risk in everything.
Yeah.
There's risk in leaving your money under the mattress. It's called inflation. It's called inflation.
Or the government could come on there and change the currency, and then next thing you know,
right. It happens. So it's 100% true. There is risk in the stock market. There's risk in investing in general, right? There's risk in waking up in the morning and leaving the house, right? Leaving it under your mattress, that is a decent option, but that's a risk also. Because you wake up in 15, 20, 30 years and you look up and realize the cost of living has outpaced your savings, then we're still screwed. Then you're still working for forever. Because the reality of money is that money's a tool to reach whatever level of freedom or happiness you're looking to attain, right? When you die, you can't take it with you. So ultimately, you're trying to find the balance of creating a quality of life that is, again, happy to be here. You're happy in the now, but then taking care of yourself in the future, so it's a happy balance. So in regards to that, balance out your risk, right? Maybe some money is under the mattress because that's your emergency reserves. That's the money that you could get to very quickly. And then the money that's maybe for retirement 20 years out, that's the money you take a little bit more risk with, because even when the market goes through the ebbs and flows, which it will, that is the truth. And again, the market's not the only way to invest. I'm not advocating, we just brought up that one. There's different ways, multitude of ways you could invest in the bank system itself, treasuries, bonds, so on and so forth. But you get a little balance. And once you have a balance, you could create diversification, right? So even if one side of finances, the stock market goes down, hopefully the other side goes up, and that's how you create that balance. And then when you sleep at night, you can sleep on your pillow of money. So that makes you, right? If you put money under your mattress, that helps you too. So it's always the way you look at it. You don't want to have a limiting mentality, a scarcity mentality, because as soon as you approach it from that mindset, you realize that you shoot yourself in the foot unintentionally, and you kind of create a problem. Even when you don't
I
need
think
to
in we say don't put all the eggs in one basket.
Don't put all the eggs in one basket.
That's
but
it.
Jordan, unfortunately, we're out of time. But this conversation feels like it can go on for another half hour easily.
We can talk money all the time.
We're gonna have to have you back
Money
to talk
is
some more
fun.
money.
It's fun.
Money is fun. Jordan Awoye, ladies and gentlemen, financial advisor, just stopping in with us to check on and see how we can make your money work for you.
If you want to sleep on it.
If you want to sleep on it, you want to do whatever you need to do. Jordan, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
Thank you for having me.
pleasure.
Take a quick break and come back with more. Stick around. It's the Now Morning Show.
Money, money, money. Money, money, money. Money, money, money. Money can't buy love. No.